So many HVAC owners obsess over revenue, but they rarely watch the number that determines whether they get to keep any of it. So payroll percentage of revenue quietly expands in the background until your profits disappear. And in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to see it before it gets to be too late. So we're going to calculate by month your payroll expense, your revenue, and your percentage. And then we're going to create this chart with the columns being revenue and then the line being your percentage. The main KPI is the line. That's why it's on the y-axis here, and the revenue is the secondary axis here. So we have a couple tabs here. The main thing, like this is just your revenue tab, right? Revenue. It breaks it down by different types. And then you have your payroll. And so what we need to calculate here is going to be the end of the month and then also this right here, which is just the sum of these here, right? So you have your gross pay, FICA, your employer expenses, benefits, things like that. And then so you have this total number here, and then you have this total month here. And then you can get the revenue from here, but you can't do a sum. You have to do a VLOOKUP. But we also have it here where it's sort of the same thing, but you still have to do a lookup on it. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, you could just copy and paste this if you have the data. But the way we need to get started is we need to get a unique list of the months and then do those calculations. So first, to get a unique list, or actually here, let's calculate these because I already have, let me call this data. I already have this column, but it's because I already calculated it, but I want to show you how to do it. So based off of the pay date, we are going to calculate the end of the month. So EO month, and then pay date, and then comma 0, because the 0 is going to do it for that month. If you were to add a 1 there, it would give you the end of the following month, like say January, or if it's here January, then February. Okay, and then to calculate this, it's super simple, just the sum of these 5, and then you get this number here. And so I'm going to delete these two because we already have them here, and I'll change the color just to make it a little bit easier to see, or just to know it's like a changing cell, or something that needs to have a calculation. Okay, so next we want a unique list of these. We don't want the duplicates, right? And so we can do the month and then do equals unique and then go back to the table here and then here. And so we have a unique list of the months there. Okay, so now you can do payroll or revenue. I mean, however you want to do it, right? Revenue, payroll, and then percent. Okay, and so to get the revenue, we have to look it up on this sheet here. So we're gonna do, because we have the month in here and it's calculated the same way off of the month start. So you can do an index and match, or you can do an XLOOKUP, like however you want to do it. I did an index and match here to get the revenue. You can see index and match. And so because I did that there, I'll show you another way to do it. You can do the XLOOKUP. So we're going to look up cell B3. The next argument after the comma is the lookup array. So where is the number? And it's right here, comma, and then the return array. What value do you want? And we want the revenue. And then if not found, you can put a text, you could say not found, something like that. Or you could just put a comma to skip it. And then a match mode is 0 because we want the exact match. And then you can see that here. And I'll just format it as $1. And then you can double click that down. And then for payroll, we're going to sum that one number that we calculated here if the month is January 31st, right? Or if as we go down, if it's this month here. Okay, so to do that, we need the sum if s. We want to sum if it's January 31st, right? So sum this column here. Make sure it's the table. You can see it's a table. It doesn't say like the column name. It doesn't say like XX. It has the table. And if you want this file, there's a link to download it. You can email me. It'll have the solution, like all that stuff. If you can't find it, the link to download, then shoot me an email. And then here, the EO month, same thing. We want the table, the payroll table, and then the EO month column, and then comma, and then right here, cell B3. So we have that. And then the percentage is just dividing the two, equals this divided by this. I mean, this is dummy data, and this is, fairly large, percentages. And so, yeah, it's a dummy data set, but I work with a bunch of HVAC shops, so I'm fairly familiar with the structure of the data. It's just that these came out a little bit high. And so now what we want to do is we want to create the chart. So we want to create this chart where it's the columns as revenue and then the line as the percentage. The columns revenue, that's right. So I'm going to highlight these two, hold down the control key, and then highlight the percentage of revenue. And then I'm going to go to insert, recommended charts. And you're not going to see it. This one's sort of close, but the problem here is that the percentage of revenue line is, 0.6. 60% is 0.6 versus, 391,000. So you're not, it's not going to show anything. And so you go to all charts and then you go to combo, and now it's looking a little bit better, but it's still not right. We need the red line to have its own axis. But because this is, payroll as a percentage of revenue, we want the line to be the main KPI. So we're going to make the secondary axis the revenue, like that. And so now we have that. And so yeah, that's how you calculate it. Let me get the title. I'll just copy it, save 2 seconds. And then if you want to show the values, like if you click in the chart and you click this crosshair, you can see the labels, but it's too noisy. So if you want just the line, you can click on the line and then do data labels. It's still pretty noisy, but if you click, meaning like it's hard to see some of these, but if you click on the cell and then go to home, click on the number, you'll see all the little boxes, and then you can choose a color, and then choose one of these colors, and then you can just see it a lot easier. You can make it bold as well if you want, whatever you want to do. And then also if you just do need to move one, you can just drag it to a different location. But yeah, anyways, if you have any questions on this one, let me know. Questions at Databoards. And if you want this file, it's there to download. You can't find it, shoot me an email. If you need some help structuring this data, like I understand that this is the hardest part, right? Getting this data structured properly is the hardest part. But if you have that and you need the insights or need some help with the insights, if your team's tied up, or if you don't have anybody on staff that can help, then shoot me an email, or there's a link to my calendar. But anyways, that's it for this one, and I'll see you in the next lesson.